Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Season 22 V8 Vets, brought to you, of course, by RaceKraft Simulations. And I'm John Van Ree. With me in the chat is Andrew Johnstone. Dave Coleman is in here as well. Bruce McLeod. Matty Monday stepping in for Funky Miller, who's MIA, making a rig adjustment. And Phil Whiting still in with us as well. How are we, gentlemen?
Good boys, how are we?
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Definitely going to be some interesting numbers as we look at this one here. And it is definitely been a tough gig done by our grading committee again. It's a thankless job. It's a tough one. And, of course, now with 4 splits, and I think we're rolling in with 193 drivers this season, it has been another mammoth effort. Plenty of new drivers. I think we've got something like 16, 17 new drivers in the league as well that have all done their quali. But I think we might just get into it, lads. I think we might just roll straight out of the box and go straight to split 1. Plenty of talking points as we come into that one to get started. Let's get it. We're going to go straight on the big list first. And the promoted drivers are Steve Grumley, the winner of Split 2 last season. Luke Ullman, who was second in Split 2 last season. And the third driver we have promoted is Christopher Barrage. And a few people are saying, how does Chris get promoted? Chris, of course, finishing 29th for the season. He managed to get himself promoted due to the fact that he had, on average, only completed 6 races. We've used 8 races this season to calculate driver standings. And with Chris, when we averaged out the 2 missing races, he finished second in Split 2 for the season. So he got promoted above Scotty Van Loon. So a couple of names there, guys. Any thoughts on those 3 going up?
That looks pretty straightforward. I wouldn't have expected anybody else anyway. So
yeah, that's fair enough too. And we then roll into the new boys that have come back into the league. A lot of names we're familiar with, and we might just start talking about them. Brenton Nishke, of course, from Frog Leap. Brenton's been around for a very long time. He's popped in and out of the series. I think he's from over the ditch with you out of memory. Can't quite remember that one off the top of my head. Andrew, you might be able to answer that one for me.
Queensland, if over the ditch is in Queensland.
Queensland. Oh, that's
ditch. Small one, but different ditch.
The Murray River, you mean?
Yeah, pretty much. But there's 2 rivers in between. Brenton's back in from Frog Leap. Bruce Tannick's back in the league. I know that is going to have a few people who've had run-ins with Bruce in the past be rolling their eyes a little bit. But Bruce had been sent away to have a look, work hard on his driving, work hard on his racecraft, and he has done enough for management to make the decision to let him back in and give him another crack at it. So Bruce comes with some reserve, but I think, he's done the work. He deserves his opportunity to have another crack at it. Next man on the list, of course, is Darren Lobb. Don't need to say too much about Lobby. He's been around for a long time. We know he's super fast. We know he's probably got the ability to adapt to a new car pretty quickly as well. Then the next man on the list is Jason Bentz. Jason has raced with us before. He has done quite a few races in the sense that we've seen him in earlier seasons. He's kept a lot of pressure on Mick Knight back in the day when he was running up the front. We know Jason's quick from XCM, and to steal Brenton O'Brien's thunder, Brenton's not the only person on the island anymore. Bentz comes from Phillip Island as well. And then the next name on the list, this one is very contentious to me. I've been telling this guy for 6 months that he's going to start in Split 4, but with the qualifying time he rolled out, we don't have a choice to start him in Split 1, and that is Jordan Ross, the boss from Synergy Sim Racing. And I think he is going to come in and put a lot of pressure on Gamble straight out of the box. I think, lads, what do you think?
Let's hope so.
So
When you get 8 out of 10 wins,
Yeah,
someone needs to challenge you.
look, I know from the management boardroom for the Pro Series, I know Jordan is taking this pretty seriously. He's going to come in guns blazing, and I'm just going to be interested to see whether he sinks or swims. We do talk about how high a standard that top 10 of vets is. We've got quite a few pro drivers in that level. So I'm interested to see whether he sinks or swims with vets. The next man on the list, of course, from Queensland is Rick Sibra from Frog Leap Juice. Rick's been up and down before. He's raced at the pointy end of Split 1. He's a previous winner of Split 2. He's done really well. The bloke in number 10 is Scott McKay. So Scotty, an ex-Split 1 driver, then went down to Split 2 seasons ago, had some knee complaints, had his knee looked at. I think he went under the knife with it, and then spent last season in race control in Split 2. And he did a pre-qual time, what we thought was good enough to give him another crack back in Split 1. So Scotty from Evolution, he gets himself in there. And then this next guy on the list, it is a huge talking point, and that is Wayne Walker. This guy has come out of nowhere. There's not much information we've got on him. Looking around with Funky this afternoon or this morning, we believe he is a dirt track racer from way back. I think he's also been involved in stewarding as well. He has a couple of young blokes coming through in dirt carts around that Sydney area as well. So Wayne Walker from Walker Racing, like this guy was setting cracking times. To put it in comparison, he was quicker than Tannic and just a nibble under Lob. Wow. And this is a bloke 42, so he's really come out of nowhere. So I think that's a great effort to step up out of the box and go bang and get yourself in Split 1. So very interesting to see how he rolls out.
Apparently, he's only been on for 3 to 6 months or something on iRacing.
Awesome to see that sort of thing happen, though.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, it's like when we looked at the times and stuff, we couldn't say no. He was the 4th fastest out of the pre-qual group. So you couldn't really say no when you wound his times back in with the rest of the guys that had done times at Road America during the season. He was pretty well much sitting himself in position to put himself in the top 15. So
I'm pretty sure Wayne's XSR this year, from what Greg was saying.
He's what?
Yeah, they're talking about that in the chat now, but
yeah.
Obviously we can only go by
what's been published to us. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's only 6 months into iRacing or sim racing. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, so if he's joined the team, that's great. If you are changing teams, make sure you let me know. There's someone coming up in when we get to Split 2 who's changing teams again, or hoping to change teams again. It's not official where he's going, but we'll talk about it later. Let's have a look at the rest of the class of 22 for Split 1. Blake Delaney from Fishy Motorsports comes with a big ticket on his head. His young blokes catching him and getting faster and faster every season. So Blake, we're looking for big things from him. Brad Dobell from Shadow Racing. This will be his 2nd season at Shadow. Brad's starting to get some pace about himself and start stepping up the order. Chad Lewis is back. Funky Miller from Fishy's in there. Craig Friend from Old Mates.
Present.
That just threw me.
I took a while there, John. Jesus Christ.
It's all right, mate.
He's only on his first Heineken 00, mate. Go easy on him.
I'm trying to drive 10 windows on 4 screens. It's not working too well. When we get to Craig Friend, Damien Cairns. Damien also did quite well this season in a few of the enduro races. Darren Hall from ERT. Darren doing very well. Darren Crosby from M1. Of course, Cros backed up by Goosey. Goosey holds the record now as the most races in the league, well above 200. That's a great effort from Goose. Dave Kirby from Fishy's in there. Dave Nash and Dean Flavelle from WKMP. Gary Buckland from Old Mates and Sons. Greg Sharp is the only person over 60 in split one. So that's a great effort for Sharpie to still stay in there. Jamie McKnight in from Fishy, he's there as well. Jeff Thomas, John Latham, if he can get off shift work, I reckon Latham could be another one who could push Ross and Gamble. And then, of course, John Gallen has held his spot in split one. That's a great effort from the guy being promoted up last season as a split two winner. Kenny Latta finished third in the season. Chris Smart from Fishy. So Fishy got plenty of representation again. Luke Grundell, another one I think if he could find the time, could commit and would be another top 10 contender. Mark Porton from Frogleap. Matty Vanderkran. Matey Parker from Nova Sim Sports holds his spot in split one. Michael Stewart from Hypersonics there. Michael Taliancic is there. Tally didn't have a good season. Tally was one of the guys that was sitting in the pub test where we went through the results. And unfortunately, the publican liked him too much and left him there. We probably reckon that with Tally, with Ross coming into split one, that's going to give two synergy drivers in split one. And that might give having the boss there from the team, might give Tally a bit of a push to try and push himself back up to the top of the leaderboard again. And we've got Michael Whiting knocked off a race this season. I'm hearing stories that he needs to have a decent spotter. If he can get a decent spotter, he may be able to push for more race wins. Rob Christoph from Frog Leaps there. Robbie Griffiths is there, another one from Fishy. And then, of course, we have our season 21 winner, Scott Gamble, in the house as well from 9.5 Sim Sports. You missed it, Coleman. Scott McCune from Hypersonic Racing. And then, of course, the man who finished second was Sean McNamara from 9.5 Sim Sports. Stephen Varga is on the list as well from Quantum. Steve Kennedy from M1. Stewie Hall from Nova. Tim Nichols from Quantum Racing. Travis Hunt and Troy Stonestreet. That rounds out our split one. Of course, Troy from WKMP. And that is a cracking looking field for split one, lads. Any thoughts on that?
That's a hell of a list of names.
Oh, it is. There are some cracking drivers in that list there. I think it's going to probably be a very, very long, very tough season. And it will be interesting to see how well these guys can adapt and how well these guys can get themselves up to speed in this new car. And I think it's going to come down to who does the time will get the results. That's my thought about split one.
New car and Lords.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely a different landscape again.
Yeah.
We talked about the 4 splits last season. This time it's the new car.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Luke Ormond. Just really proud of him. I never dreamed that we'd ever have a driver in split one, and he's done it pretty much in the last couple of seasons.
It's got to pay more, AJ.
Yeah. I just think I can afford to hang on to him, to be honest.
Good on him. Crack effort.
He's awesome.
Crack effort.
And also, just while we're on it, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Zippy too. He's the guy that sort of brought this whole team together, and he's definitely the guy that bonds us all together. So, next time you see him, tell him you love him. He likes that sort of thing.
Definitely.
I think, John, we might be worthwhile sharing a little bit of inside baseball just from what we saw in the data when we talk about this now. Because one thing I think you probably noticed with that many names going into split one, there's obviously a lot of people that are going out of split one. And that's going to be true across all the splits, apart from split 4, obviously. And I think when I looked at the data specifically at Road America, there's so much overlap between split 1, split 2, and split 3. You basically had the pole time from split 3 being about 3/4 of the way in split 1. And the slowest time in split 1 was about 90% of split 2 from a times point of view. So the splits now are so competitive that it's really going to come down to staying away from the bottom of the split more than ever to not get demoted season on season. So there's going to be that, trying to stay. If you want to stay in your split, you're going to have to really work on that clean racing to make sure you do it as well as being fast.
Yeah, and it comes back to what we've talked about. Split 2 is really split 1.5, and when we start talking about split 2 in a second, you're really going to see see that roll out as we get into that list. So speaking of split 2, let's continue on the scroll up the spreadsheet. So, of course, as Bruce said, when we start putting the numbers, we start seeing a few guys dropping down the list. So the guys who've dropped down is Jason Fewings, Logan Barnett, Lorne McKee, Mario Reale, Paul Warwick, and Shane Randall. When we went through the numbers at the bottom, there wasn't much wiggle room in there. Like we said, Tally was the only one that made the pub test to go upwards. So I think these guys coming down, they are all quality drivers. Don't get us wrong when we're not talking about them. But, I think these guys will be in the front pack of split 2. These guys will have the potential, I think, to win it. And I think this is an opportunity for them to step up and enjoy their racing. And I think the one thing I'm going to say, and watching other guys come backwards and other guys go backwards and forwards, that these 6 drivers, and that is work hard, guys. Don't think going back a split, it's going to be easier, because as we've talked about before, split 2 is really split 1.5. These guys race even harder than split 1. It's a bit like the old it's a bit like the old NFL versus college football. These boys down in split 2, they're thirsty, they're hungry, and they will have their elbows out. So expect to be still rubbing panels and rubbing doors. And $20 is $20. Okay, Pato. Let's keep
Is that
scroll.
cash or is that a surcharge?
Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Yeah, good, Hamish. How are you?
I'm good. I thought I'd just jump in quickly whilst we're talking about split 2. You spoke about it being a different style of racing, John. It's a different, they're hungrier. Split 1 and split 2, no matter about the pace, they're different styles of racing. And those drivers that have come down, they're going to have a tough slog beating some of those boys that were unlucky not to go up this season. I think I noticed that Stacey Boyd didn't go up. Is that correct? Only the top 3 went up?
The top 3, only ones that went up were Grumley, Barrage, and Ullman. Yeah,
so they're going to have to contest with Boyd, who was he was best of the rest. Van Millen's on the rise. So it's I don't think it's as simple as
it's far from it.
Who've gone down. Yeah, it's like drivers who've gone down previously, they'll be at the front again, but sometimes people who come back, they don't take it with their stride, similar to what Van Loon did last season, which he hasn't gone up, so he'll be another contender as well. So these guys are going to be heavily contesting, but they're going to have to deal with those drivers who've gotten faster while they've been away. I know as a team owner, Shane was probably pretty lucky last season to stay in split 1. Nothing against his pace or anything like that. I just know how fast and how different the field is in split 1. So hopefully he can rise to the occasion again in split 2 and find his way back up into split 1. Lorne and Mario, those guys are quick, obviously. And then Jason, Logan and Paul should give a good challenge to those who are remaining in split 2 as well.
That's exactly right, Hamish. And let's have a look who's coming into split 2. Because that list is just as hard as well. So Trent Allen, who had a very good season in split 3. Matty McMillan, he was unlucky to be promoted when we went to 4 splits. And Nick Hasler, who has worked very hard and tirelessly to lift his game up over the last 2 or 3 seasons. And all 3 guys finishing 1, 2, and 3 in split 3. Definitely worthy drivers to step up to split 2. Same thing again. It's going to be a big step up.
I personally think out of those 3, Trent's probably going to be the one most likely to find himself in the top 15 nearly every week. He's, based on what I saw last season in split 3, not just based on his pace, but how he keeps it clean. I know how he's driven in other leagues and stuff like that. He'll be very competitive, I think, next season. I think Matty and Nick, it'll be a good challenge for them to grow, and we'll see if they take the ball and run with it. Hopefully they do, because you wouldn't want to see them go straight back down again after coming up this season. So I hope that they can be competitive as well amongst this field.
It'll be very interesting to see how they go. I know Nick and Matt have both been working very hard, so it'll definitely be a very tough battle, I think. but I think they're up to the challenge. So
I think racing against all three of those, I can honestly say that none of them are going to leave anything behind and try to keep their spot in split 2. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, I agree. I think Matt and Nick will work very hard for it. Obviously, I think Trent has the ability to like his abilities at the forefront of. I almost thought sometimes last season, maybe he should have been in split 2. In season 20 or 21. But now he gets to prove it. If he should have been here last season he proved that he was the best in split 3. Is he going to stay up or is he going to flounder? But I think he should stay up. He's a very, very competitive driver and very quick. And Matty and Nick, they've had great seasons in split 3 previously. Nick has probably been unlucky the last few seasons not to come up to split 2. Now he gets his chance again to prove himself against this field, which is good to see.
That's exactly right. And the guys coming in to this split, like you're talking about the quality of the driver coming down, and we're getting to 18 on the list here. So there's 18 new drivers in this split. Alistair Bales from XCM. Alistair, another former Split 1 driver, probably just a little bit off the pace in pre-qual. He was the next man to go up pretty much. So it was very, very tightly contested. Chris Blanchard coming back into the rig for WKMP. Blanchy did race control for Split 4 last season, was out of the rig, coming back into the rig. Probably didn't get the time he wanted to get back into Split 1 where he was before he left. But I'm telling you, Blanchy, knowing him, he'll probably work hard and try and not get himself back to Split 1. Dave Arney, another guy coming back into the competition. No, we always say get to the chopper. But Dave, proven track record, very quick driver. We have one of our new Kiwis, Derek Lovegrove. You'd probably have to say AJ, he's fairly quick as well.
For sure, yeah, he'll settle in there quite nicely, I would say.
And as I mentioned earlier at the start of the broadcast, we've already got team names changing. Jason Strange is back with us as well. Jason's running under a privateer banner now, but I do believe he's in negotiations with another team, which will be announced shortly. And then after that, we've got Matt Muggleton. Matt, one of the Tassie drivers. He did really, really well for his Wiggly Weenus Racing. And then the next one on the list is Michael Schroeder, another former Split 1 driver returning back to the league. Expect Michael to be fairly quick in this split. Sean Cullen from Shadow Racing. He's back in after a couple of seasons off. Sean, another one who's progressed himself through the field quite well to get himself back up to where he needs to be. I think starting in Split 2, probably where he left, will be interesting to see how he goes. And then the other bloke who's been up and down, who's very quick, Steve Lanyon, is back in as well. So Steve, coming to the end of harvest season and doing a little bit of race control last season, he is back in the field as well. So that is Nova confirmed. There we go. Fix that one up.
Interestingly enough, 2 of those drivers have won a Split 2 championship in the last 12 months.
Exactly.
Jason Strange was champion this time last year, and Lanyon won it back in season 20. So, we'll see if Lanyon can. They've already given us another narrative now. Can Lanyon actually go one better than what he previously attempted, and actually go better than what Grumley did last season when he won 5 races and won the title? So, if Lanyon can win 6 races, he's got one up.
That's exactly it. So, continuing down through the Split 2 field, we have Zippy Zeal from Team AJR, Andrew Hoffman from Southern Cross Racing, Brett Fisher from Shadow, Brett Taylor racing for a new team, racing with the East West lads. So it'll be very good to see how he goes. Was in the car earlier this week on the weekend and looked quite racy with the EWT livery. Chad Viger from Angry Birds, can't rule out the Vigers. Damien Fisher from Team AJR, Darren Sheriffs from Old Mates, Darren, another proven quick driver. Dean Logsdale from AJR, another quick driver out there. Jamie Peters from Infinity. Jason Dibattito, he is running with the HJR Henry James Racing team at the moment. Jason Spriggs, another guy from Accelerate Sim Racing, is proven to be very quick. Jeremy Bush from Locked On Lads. Jim Caparonis from Southern Cross Racing, racing for a new team. Michael Scholes from 801 Sim Racing. Matty Stoyles from EWT. Mick Clifton from Accelerate. Paul Burns from SimTech Performance. And then we've got Peter Baxter from CX2, Reese DeGoey from SLS, Richard Barella from WKMP, Angry Birds Rick Viger, Ricky Hyde from 801 Sim Racing, Scotty Weston from EWT, Scott Van Loon, who finished third, but as we said, we promoted Barrage, so Van Loon is in there. He is super excited. Every second word coming out of his mouth at the moment is, I am going to win Nords. I am going to win Nords. That's all he's saying.
Not actually true.
I'm pretty sure there's a word.
I heard he was the only one showing up.
Something about Tuesday is his favourite
Pretty
word.
sure he's pushing for North to be a wet race.
Well, somebody just mentioned that there is that talk out there that Nords will be a wet race, and there is also talk out there that Nords will be double points, and there is also talk out there that Nords will be a non-drop round.
Yep, that's all from Van Loon.
Doesn't mean much. Let's be honest.
And Race Control is taking bribes in split 2.
This sounds like this sounds like he's sending Chinese whispers from WA, and it's just getting caught up. You know,
well, he's asleep at the moment, so he won't see this till tomorrow. So it's okay.
This is true.
If he wasn't one of 2 people in the management chat, I wouldn't be worried. But
one of 2, yeah. I take bribes as well if you don't want any of that. The other man to mention, another one of my favourites, is, of course, is the Dutch plumber from Nova Sim Sports, Sean van der Meulen. Simon Haynes from Quantum Racing, he is sitting in the list there as well. The kid, saw a photo of his rig this morning or this afternoon and just blown away if he's driving as well as he is in that. I'd hate to see him in a full setup. Simon Heddersheld from Fully Serve United. Stacey Boyd from Nova is there as well. Stephen Greck from Old Mates. Todd Duganetti from Nova Sim Sports, and Troy Sipple from Quantum. So that is our split 2 field, guys. And that is a cracking list. Just a few things of the split 2, guys. When we sort of got to that bottom of the list, which we'll talk about in a minute, it is definitely was tough. As we could see at the top, we had to push 18 drivers into this split. So there are going to be quite a few guys that haven't got where they want to. But any last words on split 2, boys?
I think, keep an eye on those drivers who were at the front last season. They're not all of a sudden going to drop back. So Boyd, Van Loon, I made the claim at the end of last season, Van der Meulen's going to win a title in 2025. So watch him as well. I think Paul Burns, if he can have a clean run, he'll be a challenger. Of course, Matty Scholes, Ricky Hyde, Jason Spriggs as well. I'm glad that Jamie's had an opportunity to remain in this split. I think he'll really thrive from that. I think if he can get a full season under his belt, he could challenge top 15 every single week. And then you mentioned Brady Taylor. He's been on the rise all year. He's really started to get cleaner and cleaner across the year, starting to find some pace. Same with Mickey Clifton as well. So yeah, there's plenty of talent out there. It's going to be a tough split to contest. We went to arguably the most competitive split we'd ever seen in split 2 last season. And I think it's only just gotten more competitive, seeing as the fact of, I think we had, 45 drivers last season in this split, John? So that means we've dropped 14 to get to 49. It's only getting harder and harder to remain in this split and be at this second tier level. The measuring sticks changed. If you expect to be in split 2 now, you need to watch last season, because self-reflection is the best form of gaining or being positive. And I think that this split is ultra difficult, ultra tough, and I think it's only getting tougher and tougher. I would not be surprised if we had a different race winner every single week this season.
Look,
there are that many names out there.
It definitely is going to be tough, and like I said, that was probably the gap between 2 and 3 was probably the hardest one for the pub tests that we went through. And there's a couple of guys that were all about the same, so it was very difficult to draw a line in the sand to work out where we went with it, which we'll talk about when we roll into, of course, split 3.
I reckon Warwick and Van Loon. I want to see who's doing the shake and bake.
So let's roll ourselves now into split 3. And split 3, we head ourselves up the list. and there are some big names in this section here. So Brenton O'Brien from ERT, Brian Minogue, Ed Fox, Glenn Corbett from Hypersonic Racing, Michael Quain, Peter Latham, Robert Crow, Simon Farrington, and Wayne Shepherd all move themselves down into that split 3 range now. Just going to, because I think there's probably a few people going, oh my God, with some of those names. Just going into the bottom of the scoring for split 2, O'Brien and Corbett. Basically, it was Corbett, O'Brien, Fox, Quain with the bottom 4. So it was a bit hard, I think, for the pub test to justify leaving them in split 2 based on the numbers that were coming down and based on how competitive it was. So, yeah, it is not getting any easier moving to 4 splits. But I think split 3 is going to be very competitive, and I think a few of these guys, I think, are going to revel in the opportunity that they're going to be given. I know Corbs from Hypersonic, I think he is going to be struggling to get to every race, but I think the likes of O'Brien and Quain, I'm expecting big things from them in split 3. As you know, we'll just get back to rolling up the list. And of course, coming in, we have Russell Uren, our split 4 winner, Maddie Monday, our split 2, number 2 in split 4, and then Glenn Boyce from SAR also rolled in to there in P3. So congratulations to those guys. I believe Russell Uren is Reg James's best friend now, Dave Baldock, not yours. Just quietly.
You rent to.
Confirmed.
So
Yeah, he was like Dave who?
Let's have a look at who's coming in. We've got Alex Kiddis. He set a reasonable time in pre-qual, so he was fairly quick. Unlucky, I think, to get himself into split 2. He was right on the button of the magic numbers there. Ben Brock from Frogleap Juiced Racing, another rookie to the league. Brett McBurney from Player One, another rookie. Bruce McLeod. Where have I read that name before?
Penalise him.
Split 3. Welcome back, mate.
It's like I never left.
Well, you're just stepping from one side to the other. You're coming back from the dark side. So Brucey jumps in to there. It's a bit of a shadow theme reading down the list with Latham, Farrington, McLeod, and then
I think there's 7 in the split total.
7 in the split, yeah. The next man on the list is Darren Bartz. You might want to tell the boys a bit more about Darren, maybe, Bruce.
So Darren is someone who I've raced with for years. He's one of the 2 guys I always jump in the Bathurst 1000. That's the only time he really has driven the Supercar Gen 2, but it was for that one race. A lot of F3 racing in the F3 league as well. When he's up the pace, Darren is definitely quicker than me, but he's definitely off the pace at the moment. So he's someone who I expect will take a little bit of a while to get up to speed, but when he does, he'll be right there.
That'd be good. Scott Stevens, another one from Henry James Racing. So they are multiplying very quickly in vets, which is great to see. Tim Lawson, another one making the big step over from the dark side onto the racetrack from Race Control. Tim did a pretty good job in Race Control, you'd have to say, DC.
Yeah. No, he did great. He did good. But this time he takes the field out, then we can judge him.
Let's have a look at the rest of the split 3 crowd. Aidan Rice, MWT, Andrew Galley from Full Bore Sim Sports, Andrew Johnstone, the El Supremo from Team AJR, Andrew Rushworth from Apex Racing, Brett Horsell from Player One, Craig Healy from EWT, Daniel Norris is running as a privateer. Probably shouldn't have that in there. I might just do a quick cleanup. I didn't realise that one was still in that. He did confirm he was a privateer last night. Dave Galley from Southern Cross is on the list. Fletcher Christensen is in there as well. So Fletch back for another season with old mates. James Cormick from Controller Motorsports. Jason Dunn from SAR. So that's a teammate for Boise. So I think it's the first time I've had 2 SAR cars in the same split. And then, of course, we've got Joseph Grenshaw in the list as well. Justin Wood running as a privateer. Mark Peck about to do his first full season as an M1 racer. Mark Dyer from Shadow Racing. Mark Horton from Accelerate Sim Racing. Michael Hayes from Nova Sim Sports. Mike Coroliff from Oceanic Sim Racing. And then we've got Michael Yo from Shadow Racing as well. Pete Kelleher from Synergy Sim Racing. He has the brother-in-law up in Split 1, so I reckon Pete will be trying to step up this season. Peter Vermey from 1MLT, and then Reg James from WKMP. Roy Clark from Banter Alliance is in there still. Scotty McKenzie is in there for Misfits. Simon Black from Oceanic Sim Racing is there as well. Todd Martin from Quantum Racing. Wade Reynolds from JWM. Wade Sanders from Southern Cross Racing, and Will Munro from Infinity rounds out our Split 3 field. Any thoughts on the Split 3 field, lads?
Man, I hope I like these
Pretty
Gen
even.
3 cars.
What's that, AJ?
I'm just saying I hope I like these Gen 3 cars because I see myself at the bottom of that list.
I reckon you'll do all right. I reckon don't underestimate yourself just yet. I think that is...
I am looking forward to the new cars, but I got no idea what to expect, to be honest.
I'll be hoping Reg closes the door on the line if we race at Daytona in Gen 3 and just holds the gap tight.
So I think what's interesting is if I look at there's one name on the list that jumps out at me, which is Peter Latham. Now, Pete has gone as high as Split 1. So if you have ex-Split 1 drivers at the front of Split 3, that's sort of really talking about the standard that's now for Split 3. So Split 3 isn't really Split 3 anymore. It really is what Split 2 used to be.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, really. There's some big names in there. Just going back to my other sheet. So, yeah, there was 2 guys in that breakup with the pub test. Simon Black, yeah, I'm aware of that. Andrew, I saw that the last minute. I was cut and paste off the spreadsheet they typed in. Simon Black, he got the pub test to push him up. Like I said, it was very cutthroat at the bottom of Split 3 as well, similar to the other leagues. But Simon really wants to race with Mike. And I think for everything those 2 lads have done for the Australian sim racing community, I can't see anyone having an issue with that. And then, of course, Dunny was the other one on the list there. He was right on the button as well. So he managed to scrape into Split 3. So that was probably the only real thing there with the pub test on my list. That is Split 3, guys. That only leaves us with one more split to look at.
When do we get the race control reveal so I can see who took my job?
Well, I haven't got a sheet, but I will announce them when we get towards the end of the broadcast. So rolling along,
Captain Coach.
What's that?
Bruce was Captain Coach. Race control and drive.
All 3 at once. Look, okay, done. I'll put a safety car livery on my car.
Did it at Nords the other night. Cost me. Okay, Split 4. Let's keep rolling down this spreadsheet. I know everyone wants to see this and get to the end of it. So Split 4 brings us to rolling up the list. Coming down is Shannon McNellan, Brendan Zatira, Marty Hughes, Michael Power from Southern Cross, and Ray Smith from Infinity. So Ray, I think, had podiumed in Split 3 before, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Michael Power will be interesting to see how he goes as well. Hughes, he's got himself up into Split 3 at the divide, and so did Zatera. Shannon McMillan probably needs to commit to a good hard season and get himself out of Split 4, see how he goes there. Rolling up the list, though, this is where it gets interesting. Number 6 on the list from Synergy Sim Racing, Darren Freer. I am so excited to watch this bloke race and watch him learn and get going. He is the father of Synergy Sim Racers, Thomas Freer, or Tom Freer. Tom, one of the Pro Series drivers, one of the quick boys over at Synergy Sim Racing. I am looking forward to watching the progression of Darren. I think it's going to be a talking point for the Split 4 broadcast for the season. The next bloke on the list, just when I thought we'd bloody cleaned out the fish pond, they go and restock it with bloody Jason Chin and Peter Morris from Fishy Motorsports. Chinny, of course, is the only person to ever drive a safety car and get the the Chubby Buns driver of the day. So I'm looking forward to seeing if he can do it for real in a real car.
He's a very
He's
talented
the
man.
most Aussie guy with a different surname, isn't he?
Yeah, if you look at him, you wouldn't think that surname, well, it doesn't fit, to be honest. But
Yeah, there's no phone book there. Kevin O'Neill, he's a newbie as well, coming in from We Race. Martin Lipsky, I've been watching him in SRW and a few other events around the traps. Looking forward to seeing how he goes coming up into Split 4 into vets. Simon Clapham from Frontier IT Racing. Simon's been in and out of the league, but he's back with us again for season 22. So looking forward to how Simon Clapham can go. Then start rolling down into the rest of the list. Adam St. John from Full Bore is back. Anita Buckland, I'm really looking forward to seeing how Anita goes. I think she should be running hopefully in the top 15. I reckon she's got that in her now. She's driving really well, very competitive. Brad Hayes from Apex Sim Racing. Braden O'Loughlin, I think he's looking to try and get a full season in as well. I think if Braden can get a full season in, he will be super competitive. Pico, Carl, he is still doing FIFO work, so he'll be hit and miss time-wise and how much prep he can put in. Doing an awesome job doing all of our social media stuff, though, because he is doing that from mine sites around the countryside. Craig Rose from Quantum is with us as well. Daniel Schaefer, he's one I'm expecting to be pushing for podiums after the progress he had this season. Darren Friend, I reckon Darren just needs that little bit of consistency in his driving, needs to eliminate the small mistakes, and I think Darren will be another one pushing for that podium positions. Darren Vermey from 1MLT. David Baldock.
Who?
David Baldock. Shouldn't he? He's been Split 5?
I thought he was.
There's never a
The
no.
typo, clearly.
oh,
Da-
roadblock.
Race controls.
You don't want him in race control. Don't know why they're on the
Put
track
him in
as it
race
is.
control.
At the end, can explain what happened to the drivers. And Scott, at the end of the split list, can you explain what happens? Drivers adjusted through the season. Okay, yeah, we'll work that one out. We have, after Baldock, of course, Dave Holly, another guy who really improved out the season. Dave Leslie is back in racing again. Dave raced vets a very, very long time ago. I have raced against David in the old RSAA days. You'd have to have a bit of a laugh, Chrisdale, bringing that up. But yeah, Dave was one of those guys I used to battle around with. So looking forward to seeing where he's at and him back in the car.
I remember racing against David before too, actually.
Yeah, and yourself, the old RSA days. David Logsdale. This is the oldest man in the league. He is coming in at the ripe old age of 72. Just for those playing along at home, just remember that, you little whippersnappers at 40. The next bloke on the list is Gunther von Nordschleife, a.k.a. Dave Worrell from WKMP. And I caught up with him last weekend when I was in Sydney, and all I can tell you is we're racing Nords, we're racing Nords, we're racing Nords. So he's very excited, boy. So keep an eye out for what happens in Split 4 when we race at Nords. Glenn Wilbo, another guy who's fairly quick and up and coming. Greg Sholton from Mustangs North Queensland. Jason Thomas from Apex. Jeff Sanford, probably one of the unluckier guys this season. He was running up on the pointy end, sat fourth going into the last race and had a disco and a few issues at Bathurst and trundled down the order. The next bloke is looking for a sand sponsor for this season from WKMP. Luke Power from M1 Racing. Great to have another driver from M1 down in the bottom splits. Michael Mills, the privateer. Mick Rudd from Quantum is in there. And then, of course, we have my favourite locked on lads driving up and down the highway like I talk about. Nothing better than listening to his podcasts, especially his Vets recaps. They have been sensational to listen to. If you haven't listened to Pete's battles in Split 4 last season, I highly recommend you get onto your podcast provider and listen to the Locked On Lads podcasts. Phil Whiting from Passion Sim Racing. Phil was in the room with us. I'm was going to go to the telly and watch this. So I hope you're enjoying your beer in front of your big telly, Phil. And Phil Marsh, another 70-year-old racing with us here in Vets. That is a cracking job for Marshy. Marshy doing very well. Rob Baxter, Bulldogs arch nemesis from CX2. Ross Watson from Misfits Racing. Sean Slater from Henry James Racing. And then, of course, we have my supreme leader, Shane Patterson from Nova Sim Sports. Simon Pitt, the privateer. Stephen Luckhurst now running back under the Lucky Aces banner. Tim Hall from Player One Racing, Tim Vermey from 1MLT, and another one of the big improvers from this season gone, Vaughan Robinson. So great to see all these guys all back in the list for next season. So 46 drivers for Split 4, boys. Any thoughts on that field?
I'm just looking forward to the magazine battle to see who comes out on top.
Who draws the prettiest pictures?
Based on your pace on Monday, John, I'm wondering if you should be broadcasting Split 3 instead.
I didn't have that much pace. It's typical bloody officials. Everyone fell off.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all about finishing positions in this league. You know that.
I wasn't that close to you, Bruce. I didn't see you, mate. There was daylight between you and me.
I was 25 seconds, but 2 places. It was all good.
There's a reason they call him the Sandman, Bruce.
And we're going to see it in about 3 hours' time.
Yes, I know. I'm not happy about that. Should be interesting. Anyway, I've lost Bruce. Bruce is gone. Obviously ditched his webcam. He might be back. There we go. He is back. Righto. So I'm just going to quickly go through. There was a couple of questions that I saw. My best friend Russell, the Bulldog, talking stuff again. Scott wanted to know at the end of the split lists, can you explain what happens to a driver? What happens to drivers are adjusted through the season? We generally don't try and do too many adjustments through the season. You basically need to be somebody like a Scott Gamble running around in split 3 to get pushed up. And then we try and somehow pad out the points. But usually when you push someone up, someone's got to come down. So that doesn't really work too well because most people are battling the battle that they're in. Jason Dunn forgot about Dave. That's a bit of a worry.
I think the only exception to that we had the last couple of seasons, John, was when someone stepped out and there was a slot, and then we went driver by driver asking if they wanted to take the opportunity. But it definitely wasn't forced.
You want to know the average age of each split? I'll get that out for you, Marty Hughes, at some stage, but we might just play a little bit of lucky
Over
dip.
40.
Yeah. might just play a little bit of lucky dip in the chat while we continue on. And who can tell us what they think is the average age of the league? Jack, I've got that now, so I can pump that one out. So type that in type that in the chat, and we'll see who gets closest to that one as we get towards the end. Now, let me just bounce around. I didn't get a graphic for this, but we'll talk about it. And that is what is happening with race control. It's pretty daunting what's going on there. We basically have in split 1, Greg Favell, Anthony Visma, and Scotty Mascord as the safety car driver. Got to meet Mascord the other week up in Newcastle. Cracking young fella. He is super excited, looking forward to the 15th of May. He's got 2 seasons to wait, and he is basically counting him down by the day. Reminds me of Simon Haynes. So not much change there. We have Mark Duggan again. Met Mark as well. Another cracking fella. Mark Duggan as DSO still, and Jake Burton is back for another season involved in the DSO role in split 1 and across the other splits. And then we have an ambassador role for the one and only Madison Down as well. So Madison's got access to various things in the league. So that's what's going on with split 1. Split 2, we've got some shady fella as our chief race control there, David Colburn. That's him.
I wouldn't mind $1 for each time I've heard that.
You watched, you've gone from 70 views to 35 because of that.
Hello, who's there? And then, of course, we have with that in race control with him at the moment, I believe we have, what's his name? I'm trying to find it.
Trav at the moment, and Trav might go to split 4 for now.
Yeah, we're still finalising that. So, and I think Jamie Dyke is on standby as well with what's going on with that.
Not confirmed. Gen 3 is too exciting, apparently.
Gen 3 is too exciting.
We have a good team, so don't be stressed.
Yeah. And of course, the safety car driver, Mr. Thomas Freeman. Hey, great to have him back. And then split 3, we have Joe Marnie in the hot seat there with Ty Delaney with him. And then after that, we have someone from Race on Oz. Joe hasn't given me the exact name yet, from Race on Oz in there racing with him as well. Bruce has disappeared, so we'll go to that picture.
You're over to the right somewhere.
Oh, it's all right. it's the other Bruce.
It's the other attractive handsome man.
Split 4, Lucas Neville stepping up. We're still waiting to confirm who is number 2 there. Hopefully that person will still step in. And then we have Lucas Burt back for his 5th or 6th season in the safety car. So a huge thank you to Lucas for that one as well. Definitely looking forward to how that all rolls out. I'm just going to quickly check something while I'm here. Yeah, good one. Just laughing at the thing. Oh, when can I see John? When can I see you, John? Question, can I get a Vets t-shirt again? Yes, you can, Anita. I'm just finalising those. This is the new style shirt. Just finalising what we're doing. It's been caught up with work stuff at the moment. So we've got new shirts, working on those at the moment, working on new caps. And if anyone wants a stubby holder, I have gotten 2 large boxes off Luke Holland. So anyone needs a stubby holder, I've got boxes and hundreds of them. So let us know.
If anybody wants a custom stubby holder, just see me.
Yes, the custom stubby holders, which I don't have. Hang on, this might work. Custom stubby holders. There we go. They are great. Highly recommend them. Here you go, Reg. Product placement. So moving along the last part of our broadcast before we start to get excited. I know it's 3 hours from Christmas morning or 2 hours from Christmas morning for a few of these boys. Some of us have to sleep though.
Well, what's happening?
Nothing. Nothing's happening.
Your safety car.
5 years in the making, nothing.
just a lazy 15 gig download.
Yeah. Let's click on that one so I can bring that one up. So we start the season off with Watkins Glen Classic Boot. I did do some stats on this. Hopefully I can click on that. We have raced the Classic Boot once before. It was an interesting circuit when we did it. So there's a little bit of history on that. It was season 2 was the last time Vets ran the Classic Boot at Watkins Glen. Jamie McKnight is the only winner there. So it'll be an interesting 47-lap race around. We then have 2 weeks off for Christmas, but I'll probably rephrase that. You have 2 weeks off to learn the new car. Hopefully most of you have already booked your holidays and planning to send the family off, so you got seat time.
Well, the 2 weeks was for race control to stop rocking in their chair.
Well, it was going to be 1 week off, but race control put their foot down and demanded 2. So
yeah, we got EBA rights, all right? We don't want the union to come in and put a strike, picket line in front of the computer.
And then we head off to Brands Hatch on the 9th of Jan. Brands Hatch is going to be 55 laps. We haven't been to Brands Hatch since season 13, so back in December 22, a long time ago. Put it in perspective, Mark Duggan won split 1 back then. So that's how long ago that was when Duggan was driving. And, of course, season 7 and even season 2, we were back there with Jamie McKnight getting the chocolates. And then round 3, we head off to Magna Core. which I think is a great little track to race at. We've only raced there once before, of course, in season 15. Scotty Gamble, Grumley, and Garbett were the guys that got the chocolates in that one there. So that's only going to be a 200k race for 46 laps. And then it is the big one. And of course, we haven't raced where's Worrell when I need him? We haven't raced the 24-hour circuit at Nuremberg, the Gemstock circuit. But we have raced the long circuit, which has the Mercedes Stadium Arena complex in it. And that was back in season 12. So we have been to Nuremberg before. We've done it before. It's nothing new. And of course, Greg Flavelle, Robbie Griffiths, and Mark Dial got the chocolates when we were there back previously. 250k race, 10 laps, will be an absolute battle and a half. If anything from last Sunday's race to go off, last Thursday night's race to go off, I think has the potential to provide some interesting driving. And as a driver, you just got to learn the sections of the track, not every corner. And as a driver, you just got to learn to drive within yourself that little bit, and it'll go a long way. And then, of course, we head back to Belle Isle, Detroit road course, pretty much a staple. Been there season 1, season 3, season 5, season 8, season 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, going back for 22. Some big names on the list have won at this place. Stephen Varga, McKnight, Sean Kelly, Wade Reynolds, Greg Favell, Reg James, won split 2 back in season 10. Roderick Hollis has won there. Dave Galley's won there as well. He's won split 3 in season 12. Tally's won there. Todd Duganetti's won there back in split 2 in season 14. Reg James has won there twice. Big credit to take, Reg. He's won season 14 as well. Scotty Gamble's won there twice. So it is a circuit. McNamara has won there as well. Who else we got? Lanyon's had success there. Daniel Norris. Kidd has had success there. Simon Haynes. Rick Sibra's had success there. So it is a track that I think a lot of guys enjoy racing at, but will be an absolute challenge when we roll out the new car.
Wider cars this year.
There's a myth that David Baldock's had success there.
He passed 2 cars.
Surely. No, I don't see his name on my list.
No, you won't see it on any list. It's written in invisible ink, apparently.
Okay. Okayama is the next one where we go. Okayama International full layout. And, of course, we've raced there season 4, 7, 10, 11, and 18. So it's been 4 seasons since we've been there. It's been over a year. And Lanyon, Parker, Delaney won when we were last time there, not Ty, but Blake. Mark Dial has won there. Travis Hunt's won there. Favell's won there. Johnny Latham's won there. And McKnight has won there as well. So it is another track that has produced different winners. And then round 7, we head to Snetterton for the 300 layout for 47 laps. And Snetterton has not been raced before in vets. So that is a whole new ball game for everybody. And then round 8.
Have we raced one of the other variations?
Nope.
I always crash on the knob.
The one that has been raced before is more like a letterbox. It doesn't have the inside.
Vets hasn't raced there.
That was ridiculously short. So I went for the 300 variant.
Next one, of course, is the Great Red Bull Ring, another enjoyable track to race at. Been used in season 8, 10, 13, 16, and 19. So it's been a while since we've been there. Jason Bent's won there in season 8. So, of course, Bent's back in split 1 now. Paul Young, another quick driver who probably could have a good crack if he ever came back, would be competitive. Christian Smart's won there. Pete Latham's won there. Greg Flavell's won there. Paul Warwick has won there. Dave Arney, Rick Sibra, Latham, as I said, John has got himself on the list there as well. Kenny Latta, Zippy Zeal, and, of course, Steve Kennedy's also won there as well at Red Bull. So a track that I think we've enjoyed racing at quite a few times, excuse me. And then Sandown is round 9 for a 150k sprint race. So that's going to be a quick one around there. Been there 12, 13, 15, 17, and 20. So had a few seasons away from the place. Some big names have won there as well, such as Fletcher Christensen, Scotty Gamble, Lon McKee, Simon Haynes, Marty Hansen, Mel Powell, Taliancic has won there a couple of times. Lanyon's won there, Jeremy Bush, Crosby and Flavel. So it's a track that's had some success for quite a few people. And then we finish off the season. It was such a great success last year doing round 10 with no drops as the Enduro. This season, we're going to head to Phillip Island to finish the season off with an Enduro. So, of course, 68 laps around Phillip Island. Now, this place has been quite popular and well used, of course, seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15, 18 and 19 we've been there. Stephen Varga's a multiple winner. Jamie McKnight's won there more times than you can poke a stick at. Richie Barella has won there as well. Michael Schreier has won there. Andrew Galley, Darren Crosby, Tally, Heddersheld, Reg James has won there. Roy Clark has won there. That's just a bit. I think there's something wrong with Sim Racer Hub DC. Steve Kennedy, Mark Poynton's won there. John O'Gallon's won there. Grumley's won there. So yeah, it's been quite a popular circuit. So looking forward to finishing that season off. I think it's going to be a great season. With the new cars, I'll give everyone a bit of a heads up now. With the new cars, don't expect us to roll out rain in week 1 or 2, season race 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. We probably
round 4's a good one.
Nords, yeah, probably Nords are probably the only wet race. No, look, we want everybody to learn to drive the cars. We want everybody to learn how the cars work before we go and introduce major variants like rain, and we need to work out how we dial in a fixed setup for rain and all that sort of stuff as well. So there's elements that we need to, as a league, we need to get right before we roll.
Baby steps.
Yeah, before we roll out. If we come new car, here's rain, here's this, here's that, it gets quite higgledy-piggledy. And I just think everyone just needs to be, just take our time with this and let's make sure.
Race control, thanks you.
Well, it certainly makes sense to have Nords as the test track. It's a simple track just to get right for the rain. So,
Well, the beauty about rain at Nords is you can have one part of the track that's wet and the other part can be dry, so you can have your cake and eat it too.
Didn't Van Loon say it was as easy as a centripetal circuit?
Well, I mean, Van Loon's the advocate for it, so you've got to back him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've got to back Van Loon to the hilt. It'll be good racing there. I'm looking forward to it. I was a bit skeptical the other night when I jumped in at the last minute, and it was quite nice. What else going through our heads at the moment? Sup regs will come out for each race, so make sure you read them, because if we do throw some curveballs, maybe rain, or something else like that, it'll be in the sups. The other one, just want to mention that the actual regs themselves will be updated over the weekend as soon as we get the actual official layout from iRacing of the calendar, just to lock everything in. That'll come out. Window banners, unfortunately, I've got to go to Canberra tomorrow, so they probably won't come out till Thursday night or Friday. So apologies to all the car painters out there, because I know it's going to be a very busy time to scramble to get everything done for round 1. We have got somebody lined up for round 1 to take the replays and stuff from that and hopefully produce us some an intro video. I know a few people have been calling for that for a fair while, and we've been holding off waiting for waiting for the Gen 3 cars to come in for that. Am I missing anything else, boys?
So, John, quick question. The sponsors are the same. The banner sponsors are the same for this season as last.
Banner sponsors will be the same. It will still be RaceKraft on the front, West End Motor Group on the back. We do have a new sponsor coming on board, but that'll be not a title sponsor. I'm sure Van Loon will announce that due time. I think he's just finalising the crossing the
It's,
T's and dotting
it's
the
not
I's.
DC Shades, but if you need some blinds, contact DC Shades.
Yeah, yep. Blake down on the bottom left. He's got you all
So
sorted.
I think that's probably enough information for most painters to at least put a dummy placeholder in place anyway, John.
Yeah. I know another league
Banner's
is
an issue. I'm sure we can do them for some people.
average split age. Yeah, I haven't worked that out yet. Give me 2 seconds. If someone can talk, I can quickly do that.
We can all
Give me a
talk, because whether or not
And don't forget, if you haven't paid,
listening
get
to our
paid if your
bullshit,
name's up.
everybody should have paid and accepted invites by now.
There is 2 or 3 still that have not completed everything that they need to complete. Yeah, pretty much.
Brad, John said that shirts and caps shortly.
Righto, for those playing along at home, the average age of split 1 is 48.08. Average age of split 2 is split 2 is
Split will be like 90.
split 2's average age is 50.4. Split 3. I love how you're getting all the hard answers here, guys.
What's the most popular birth? I have to do a vet census.
I asked age. That was a good start.
How many people from each state?
How many guys have birthdays on race day?
Not enough. Yeah, I just lost it. I think 51.7 is split 3. So
How many PRA drivers has Dave actually had?
Yeah, what about overall? 'Cause I thought that's the question. I got 54 on this. This is going to determine my race control season.
So those playing along at home, 51 is the average age of. So split 4 is actually younger. It's 51.04, and split 3 is 51.7. So there you go.
Just one, Pecky.
This one, what's Pecky up to? The wrong spot now. Righto. So yeah, and the 51 is the average age of the league for those playing along at home as well. Yeah, I think that's all I've really got to talk about. I think everyone knows how to reach me if they need to have a chat. Rain before that, just reading what's going on. Rushworth, Mark Peck, you said big names. Clark's not a big name. Sorry, Mark, I didn't mean to disappoint you. Brad Hayes, yeah, as Reg said, I'll have something out for ordering those probably in the new year when I get a break to get that sorted. It's got to finalise some details on a few things with that. Cheers was grabbing a hot dog from my kitchen. Righto, Mark Peck. How many dwarfs are in vets? Just one. 2 actually, because I can't bulldog. State breakup. I think that's enough. I'm done. On that note, guys, a huge thank you. I'll just see what this is, Mr. Walker. Yep, we've got that one covered. And on that note, guys,
Smash the like button.
Smash the like button if you haven't subscribed. Make sure you do that. Answer the last question. Not enough.
About 39, Dave.
Telstra user for an NBN survey.
On that note, I think we'll wrap this up, lads. And I just want to wish everybody racing this season good luck. Race Control boys, good luck. And just remember, at the end of the day, we're all a bunch of old blokes over 40 that all have a common interest. And we do it because we enjoy it. So make sure, guys, that you have fun. Get around the guys you race with. There are some cracking lads in this league. In saying that, you know, I was lucky enough last week to go on tour a bit with work, caught up with Pato, caught up with Stoney, Toddy Duggan, Mark Duggan, and a few others up at Newcastle. And of course, caught up with the great Dave Worrell. If you are out and about, Don't be scared to look a few lads up. Helps build the comradeship of what we've got in this league and what makes it work. On that note, if I don't speak to you guys before round 1, good luck. If I don't speak to you guys before Christmas, have a happy Christmas, stay safe. And of course, drive fast, have fun. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, enjoy the new cars, everyone. Have a good season.
Thanks for watching.
Introducing the RaceKraft PT1, custom-built full chassis racing simulator. The design project, codenamed The Cage, an 80/40 extrusion chassis sitting on top of a Sigma Integrale DK2 Plus 4-point full motion actuator system. No compromises in the cockpit of the PT1 simulator. To maximize the experience, we start with the 49-inch ultra-wide monitor for the greatest field of view in a small footprint of the simulator, down to the SimuCube wheelbase that's tucked up and behind the monitors with SimCore extensions to get things out of the driving area. Everything is connected to a Cube Controls GTX steering wheel with the built-in dash and all the extra button functions available at your fingertips. Driving through the Raceworks S1 pedals, the potentiometer throttle and the 2 hydraulic pedals for brake and clutch ensures you maximize the feel underfoot, and seating yourself into an OMP HTER bucket racing seat with OMP belts connected to a G-belt tensioner to provide that extra feeling and the heightened experience while you're driving. Additional interfaces and accessories in the PT1, we have twin butt kickers, one on either side of the OMP seat, as well as a Jinx sequential shifter, the SimPush Race Logic timer to the left-hand side, a RaceKraft built-in WinSim kit with Philips Hue lighting and a built-in soundbar, plus the OMP side net to finish off the experience in the PT1. The RaceKraft PT1, build number 1, the ultimate in sim racing experience, combining the best products in the market with the passionate, no compromise approach that goes beyond racing simulation.